The innocence of youth was no protection for a 15-month-old baby boy last night. He and his mother were sitting in a friend's car in a gas station at 87th and Cottage Grove in Chicago. A gang dispute there suddenly erupted in gunfire. When it was over, the baby was dead, his mother seriously hurt, and a young gunman under arrest. Channel 2's Rob Stafford reports the victim's family now wants to know why.
Police moved the tiny body of Denzel Gist from the hospital to the morgue. His mother, Tanya, is recovering from a gunshot wound in intensive care. Shirley Gist was by her daughter's bedside after surgery this morning.
I went in and I told her, I said, baby, I said, how you doing? And she was trying to shake her head. And as I got to tell you something, it's bad. And she shook her head as if she already knew. And I said, Denzel is gone.
Last night, Tanya Gist was with a friend who stopped at this Southside gas station. Tanya was in the passenger side seat with Denzel on her lap. Witnesses say a gang member opened fire from somewhere over here. The bullet went through the car, hit Denzel and Tanya as well. Their friend did not wait to call 911. He sped out onto Cottage Grove and went directly to the hospital. You can still see shattered glass on the ground. Tanya's sister, Lavise, survived the shooting. She was in the back seat when Tanya and Denzel were hit.
He just was crying and he was like he was fading away or whatever. His lips was turning different colors, and I was calling his name and he was responding, but he couldn't open his eyes.
Are you sorry?
Police say this man pulled the trigger. 22-year-old Adrian Thomas faces a charge of first-degree murder. Investigators tell us Thomas was trying to shoot a rival gang member, but missed.
We have another case of an innocent child being shot to death as a result of conflict between rival gang members.
Shirley Gist is relieved someone is behind bars for killing her grandson. She is now caring for her daughter's two other boys. They were all looking forward to Christmas, but not anymore.
I don't know what's going to happen. We got a real good Christmas present. Death.
On the South Side, Rob Stafford, Channel 2 News.
Police say the suspect, Thomas, was on probation after being convicted of possession of a stolen vehicle.
In the shooting of a Pittsburgh firefighter. Good evening, I'm David Johnson.
And I'm Margaret Shortridge. Peggy Finnegan is on maternity leave. Police arrested the 15-year-old and charged him with firing shots at 33-year-old Thomas Santoriello. Now, police say that the boy fired at least 6 rounds towards him, but he was not hurt. The bullets did hit his car, though. It happened last night outside Station 15 in the Lincoln-Larimer section of Pittsburgh. There's no word if the teen is part of what police call local gangs making up the so-called hit lists for initiations. But there is concern public safety figures may be the targets.
Well, with the night before that, someone fired shots at a Pittsburgh police officer. None of the bullets hit Officer Dennis Washington, but at least one hit the light bar on his patrol car. Police say it happened in Larimer section of the city of Pittsburgh, in an area known for gang activity. It also came as rumors circulated a police officer, firefighter, bus driver, and jitney driver are on a list for gang members' initiation to shoot them. Well, with teen gunmen targeting officers, we want to know if the police force is strong enough to combat this latest threat.
Continuing the team coverage we began first at 5, Vince Gerasoli is now looking for answers. He's live in East Liberty. Vince.
David and Margaret, we could look at this as a story about numbers, and according to numbers given to us by the Pittsburgh Police Department, you could say that police officers outnumber potential gang members in the city of Pittsburgh by at least 2 to 1. But when you talk to the residents who live in the neighborhoods where the gang problems are developing, they say those numbers aren't good enough.
Larimer Avenue hasn't been the best place to catch the bus for some time, but Fanny Kate's fears are barely a year old.
When did you start being afraid?
Well, after all this started coming out about the drive-by shootings.
Last year, Lavinia Dennis didn't worry about selling cosmetics door to door.
I can't even get out here and sell my Avon. I can't, like, when I come to make change for somebody, I have to take their money and go to the store in order to give them the right change.
There are new fears born from the new mix of teens, guns, and gangs.
At one time, you go get in a fist fight. Now, he'll shoot you for nothing.
There is a growing need, say folks in this neighborhood, for more police. Concerns echoed on Grant Street by City Council President Jack Wagner.
This administration better get their act together with police hiring.
There are currently 1,095 officers patrolling Pittsburgh streets. The city is authorized to hire 1,175 and promises to have at least 50 more on the beat by January. Critics charge the city's switch to a new non-quota-based hiring system is dangerously slow. But the city defends the switch, saying it's speeding up the process by hiring veteran officers.
We had great concerns that the processing in the past was biased, that processing, if left alone, would not give us an opportunity to reflect our community.
It's a lag time, say some, allowing gangs to form in those communities.
Because we refer to them as copycat gangs.
Police Chief Earl Buford says of the 12,000 high school teens in Pittsburgh, at most 5% or 600 are involved in gang activity.
Because we refer to them as copycat gangs doesn't make them any less dangerous. But we know that they aren't affiliated or they don't have direct lines into L.A.
Which gives Buford hope his gang task force can break them up locally. He's also increasing patrols in problem neighborhoods where families say it's needed.
The only thing I really want out life for me and my kids and my husband survive.
Chief Buford goes on to say that more police on the beat would definitely help win the war against the gangs in the city of Pittsburgh. However, there is another thing we can all do. He says communities, citizens, residents, politicians need to come together, strengthen up family values, a word we've heard so often this election year, together, and that is one of the only ways we will be able to combat this, by starting at home with the families. Reporting live from the East End, I'm Vince Girasoli.
Okay.
A small farming community in southern Santa Cruz County is fighting back tonight over a persistent problem of violence involving juveniles. The city is Watsonville, and the crackdown involves a curfew program that goes into effect tonight, a program modeled after a similar one in San Jose. Diane Garazzi is in Watsonville with a live report. Diane.
Elaine, the curfew will start here at 11 o'clock tonight and run through 5 in the morning. Police will be patrolling 7 days a week during those hours, looking for anyone under the age of 18 who's out on the street. They're doing this to try and curb gang violence. It's a major problem in this farming community of just 35,000 people. There were 5 homicides in Watsonville last year, 4 of them attributed to gang members. Just last night, another 2 people were stabbed in what police say may be yet another gang attack.
You have an increase for a while, and then it'll quiet down for a while, and then it increases again. Here we go.
Police Corporal Steve Nakamoto says these are the type of teens the curfew targets. Youngsters in groups milling around after dark with no apparent place to go. Officers will concentrate their patrols outside liquor stores, parks, and public gathering spots. They'll pick teens up if they detect trouble brewing.
If they're coming home from a community event, or if they're in the presence of adults or someone who's taking care of them, then that's fine. But if they're generally up to no good, we're going to detain them, bring them here to the police department, and then to the youth center.
They'll take the curfew violators to this youth center, not to participate in any sports, but to be kept in a separate room waiting for their parents to arrive. Once the parents are there, they'll receive counseling from a professional counselor right there on the spot, parent and child together, looking for potential problems.
Any drug abuse, any alcohol abuse, maybe they're involved in gangs, and trying to find out if there's any other issues involved there and what those issues are, and if we can help them out in any way.
The program is modeled after a similar one in San Jose, one that has cut youth crime by 13% and saw a 42% drop in the number of reported stab or gunshot wounds. But will it work in Watsonville, a city that has an overgrown gang problem, a city of a few very rich and many, many poor farm laborers?
You know, so from time to time, there has been times when I've been a little concerned about the safety of not just my child, but other kids as well.
Do you think keeping them off the streets late at night is going to help?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
I think it's a good idea because people around here, it's not that safe.
Cops are bad. Cops are bad for the cholos, huh? Yeah.
These children outside the youth center tonight were delighted to receive police trading cards. It's just one way that officers here in Watsonville are trying to soften their approach. The curfew is another way. Rather than prosecute violators, the system gives them counseling. By contrast, a curfew that emphasized punishment was on the books here for years, but with little success. Police now say, given the history of violence in this town, it's definitely worth a try. Elaine, Dennis.
Diane Garazzi live in Watsonville. Thank you, Diane.